continue on. They can have full, rich careers, people that can't read. I mean, literally can't read.
Maybe they can't read, but they can count. And in Hollywood, the name Michael Crichton means millions. He's a Tinseltown dynamo with little interest in the trappings, because it's a power lunch when Crichton simply eats alone. His mind, his writing, roam the universe, everything from future shock to new age spirituality, even modern art. Yet look at him. Would you ever guess he's also king of the thrillers?
Every one of our patients is individually monitored by the computer.
Take Coma, a prescient horror story about traffic in human body parts.
You're to blame here.
Rising Sun, which tapped into America's secret prejudice about the Japanese. And his little notion about genetic experiments and the hubris of scientists who think they could control everything they create. This time, the detail came out of his mind. Every creature, a little bit of Crichton.
How did you decide how they should move, each of them?
I'd be there working for hours and hours, and my assistant would come in at 10 o'clock in the morning. And one day she came in, and she was very alarmed. She said, "What are you doing?" And I think she thought I was having a seizure because I was going. But I was just being a raptor, you know, trying to bite somebody's limbs.
The movie Jurassic Park has grossed nearly $1 billion worldwide. Michael Crichton made $22 million in the last 2 years.
Did you have a sensation of saying, wow, I'm really smart?
Never. No? Never. I still don't have that feeling.
You don't?
No.
I've read that you said I have a first-class mind, that you've been surprised to enter a room and find someone smarter than you. It happens rarely.
This is all true.
It is the laugh of an outsider who is winning at an insider's game. An exotic combination of success and anxiety, mogul and intellectual.
How smart is he?
How smart did he tell you he was?
Anne-Marie Martin, actress, Crichton's fourth wife and mother of their daughter. She's irreverent about his notoriously rigid work habits.
The book proceeds, he'll get up at 5, and then he'll start getting up at 4, then at 3.
When I'm working, I'm very withdrawn. The other day I was sitting at dinner and my daughter looked at me. She's almost 5, and she said, "Dad, are you..." And then she stopped and she said, "Oh, that's right, you're writing." And she just turned away.
You know, it's kind of like a religious holiday, a lot of silence and fasting.
This is a small workspace for a guy with a big income.
Yeah, it is. But, Leonardo had the idea that small rooms concentrate the mind. And I've always found that, if we rent a house someplace, I will always go to the smallest room. And Valerie.
Ducking under the door jamb to do it, Michael Crichton is 6 feet 9 inches tall. His office is a tiny neighborhood bungalow. Once an idea takes hold, he burrows in behind the computer, even eats the same thing for lunch for months at a time to avoid distractions. Flaying himself with a computer graph of his progress, the number of pages he's written every day.
In doing my work, I always feel that I'm up against the wall with somebody who's just not as good as I want that person to be, and that's me.
So hard on himself, no wonder he's so hard on others. The movie watered down his book Rising Sun with its explosive plot, some called it racist, about the menace and challenge of the Japanese. So he quit the project. More rage at studio executives and directors for being, what was that word?
Stupid. 2 and 2 is 3, stupid. Stupid. We're talking stupid.
Most of them?
Yes. I don't know most of them. No, look. It's like anything else, you know. The wonderful people are wonderful.
And the actors, by and large, stupid?
Well, you remember what Truman Capote said.
What?
You don't remember.
Which? About actors?
Stupid.
But you stay in it. Why do you stay in it if you feel that way about it?
Well, it's never been clear that I'm in it. Occasionally I get calls from people saying, you know, you're going to have to decide if you're in the movie business or out of it.
It's not the first time Michael Crichton has felt like a stranger in a strange land. At 13, from a middle-class neighborhood in Long Island, he was already a gentle skyscraper.
125 pounds
125
at 6'7"?
pounds. Yeah.
Were you visible from the side?
It's amazing. I mean, they gave me very heavy shoes to sort of weight me down, you know, like a potted plant. I was really uncomfortable. You know, I was the tallest person in the world, as far as I could tell. Older kids chased me home and beat me up. I don't think there's any question that I did have a kind of withdrawal.
When he got to Harvard Medical School, he withdrew again. A sensitive, questioning student shocked at the way they were training doctors to be imperious, impersonal.
The most common thing that people want from their doctors is time. And instead they get pills. You know, but when you think about it, why do they want the time? What does the time mean? They want time, they want to talk, they want to have some. I think that's a kind of healing that can occur, of verbal communication.
More and more, medical school became simply material for the thrillers he'd begun writing, as his insistent questioning at Harvard made him a rebel and a pariah.
I was becoming accustomed by my third year to often eating meals in the cafeteria alone. And then I sold this book, The Andromeda Strain, and everyone wanted to have lunch with me. It was a very creepy experience.
The Andromeda Strain, in the 1960s, his first giant book and movie deal. He left medicine and moved to Hollywood, but this intense Easterner was like a Calvinist at a carnival. Because success seemed so easy and so empty, Crichton plunged into the first of a series of depressions, and 3 marriages ended in bruising divorce.
A lot of suffering, yeah. Good suffering for somebody who wants to suffer. Oh, another chance to suffer. Oh, good.
Did you ever think about suicide?
Sure.
How close did you come?
I don't think probably very close. Depression's dangerous. You know, and I was always inclined to treat it with respect.
What brought you out?
I don't know, it just gradually lifted. I don't understand this, you know. It seems to me a lot like weather. Sun's out today. Cloudy today. Cloudy this month. I don't know.
It was his old friend, Sean Connery, whom he directed in The Great Train Robbery, who tried to help him practice happiness day by day.
Boy, isn't he a wonderful person? Pretty phenomenal person. He's very much a model for me. Sean can be carefree, or he can give that appearance. I'd like some of that.
To be carefree.
Carefree. Like you, I think.
Me?
That's what he thinks.
Listen, I had ulcers at 16. As everybody really marches to their own drummer, whether they like to admit it or not, it depends on their standard, and his standards are way, way beyond lots of other people. Therefore, he judges himself by a different measure.
You did all this. You can come here and console yourself that when something isn't working, that it can be done.
Yeah, or I can come and be intimidated by myself.
And now there's a new book about an earthquake, but not the geological kind. The seismic shift in the power game between men and women. Disclosure, it's set in a high-tech, high-tension computer environment. It's the story of a sexually predatory boss and an acquiescent subordinate who after the fact cries sexual harassment. But there's a twist. The predator is a woman.
She says, you could have left, you didn't leave, now you have a harassment claim and you're ruining my career. Is she wrong? I think she's got a point. I think she's absolutely got a point.
He says he reversed the familiar gender roles to raise a question. Is the predator really the only problem? What about the victims crying foul? Did some of them conveniently forget they were intrigued by the sexual power game and could have refused to play?
Why doesn't he say, I'm sorry, I've got to go now? I mean, we all know how to do that. Gosh, I got that phone call back at my office.
You think feminism, though, has to take some blame for feeding victimhood?
I agree with that idea. But I think that we live in a society in which many different groups are seeking, scrambling over each other in an unseemly fashion to declare themselves the greatest victims. It's interesting that we now blame men who are trying to join this party. We're victims too. You know, and a lot of people say, no, you're not. You can't come in the party. Only the rest of us can be victims. You men are not victims. But we'll find a way. We'll get to be victims too. We can all be, it can be the great nation of victimhood.
What are you saying then to women about the issues in this book?
Well, I don't know that I'm only speaking to women. Initially, women began by saying, we want to be in positions of power if we want to. We want to be able to run the company if we want to, and we don't want to hear that we've lost our femininity. We haven't. We are feminine, and we're the boss, both. We want to have this range of options, and I think men are going to be asking for the same thing.
What would you most like to know about being a woman?
Is there something I don't know? Why am I obliged to be always sexually predatory? Why is it assumed that, I'm ever ready to jump on anybody that passes by? That's a tremendous burden, actually. I don't buy into that. I don't accept that, Why is a 14-year-old girl who has sex with an adult man, why is that statutory rape? And a 14-year-old boy who has sex with a woman, he just got lucky. That's not right. That's not true. That's not accurate, and that's not correct.
They have already printed 950,000 copies of Disclosure. All Hollywood is anticipating another monster hit from the introverted giant who has proven himself master of the big kill.
At great peril of parroting another question, if you were a dinosaur, which dinosaur would you be?
I'd be a raptor. They're smart, they're fast. They don't bang their heads on doors.
Nasty.
Nasty. Well, gotta eat.
Still ahead, new kid on the block, the most talked about 7-year-old in New York City. Also, a world away. You thought things like this didn't happen anymore, but they do.
Iowa City.